Welcome to the Wells Report. Good to have you here, sir.
JD, great to be back with you again. Thanks.
It was a very curious decision by a split court, 6-3, and it had to get you scratching your head just a little bit.
Well, JD, I got to tell you, I think it's a very disturbing, if not catastrophic, decision, and here's why. First, it means that Obamacare lives, despite the fact that Congress wrote the law completely differently. But here's the catastrophic thing about it, and that is the United States Supreme Court has now shown that we really don't have three branches of government that provides a check and balance against what the other branches do. Because the United States Supreme Court is now a part of the legislative branch, where they are rewriting the laws as opposed to enforcing the laws that are written by Congress. And so this very disturbingly erodes the power and effect and meaning of the United States Supreme Court.
I agree 100%. Not only that, sir, but I realize today that what we've done is the court has transmuted its powers from interpreting the laws vis-a-vis the Constitution of the United States and is now interpreting the intent of Congress.
Well, you're exactly right, and even worse than that, it's applying an intent contrary to the intent of Congress. Remember those Jonathan Gruber tapes that explain what the intent of Congress was. The intent of Congress, the intent of the president, was to force and coerce states to create these exchanges, which is precisely why they wrote the law the way they did. And so what the United States Supreme Court did today was not to try to fulfill the will of Congress. The United States Supreme Court rewrote a different will of Congress in an effort to uphold the Obamacare law.
It's incredible. Governor Abbott is our guest here on 660 AM The Answer. There are those who are advancing the notion that Chief Justice John Roberts did not want to have the court responsible for overturning this amazingly huge, gigantic, in my particular opinion, drastic and dramatic overreach by the United States federal government. He didn't want to set that all aside on what is arguably a legal technicality. What do you think about that, and why is it that Chief Justice John Roberts is more interested in his legacy than what the actual court is ruling today?
Well, that's one of the disturbing things about this, and that is I do agree with you that John Roberts did not want to see Obamacare overturned. However, I don't think it was a mere legal technicality. It was an application of the words of the way the law was written. And obviously, when the words of the law are written in a way that could undermine and maybe erode Obamacare, John Roberts stepped in to rewrite the law so that the law could be upheld. And that is what is offensive. And I tell you, it's going to cause public distrust and the confidence in the United States Supreme Court.
I think it absolutely will. So now where do we stand? Where do we go next? People are saying that the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court is telling us that if we want Obamacare gone, we're going to have to do it through the legislative process. What are your thoughts on that? And by the way, if that indeed does happen, will this court step in yet again, regardless of whatever legislative remedy the people demand out of their representatives? Will the Supreme Court step in again and fix that?
Well, first, as a reminder, this was the second legal challenge to Obamacare that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And so it does seem as though all of the potential legal challenges to Obamacare have been exhausted. So there's only one remedy left, and that is we have to have a new president of the United States that will repeal every single word of Obamacare.
It has to be every single word, because there's no way to keep any part of this at this particular moment, because indeed, if the law stands, we have seen that it seems as though the judicial branch will be more than happy to fill in the blanks and resurrect the law yet again.
We cannot resurrect it. We cannot tinker with it. We have to have a president that will overturn it and start over again, and we must return health care to where it should be. and that is between a doctor and a patient with consumer-driven oriented healthcare solutions that are unique to each individual instead of these programs that we see fail in other countries. We used to have the best healthcare system in the entire world. People were coming to the United States from other countries for healthcare, and now we have adopted a healthcare system that's like the countries where people are coming from. JD, this just does not make sense.
It does not, sir, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We sincerely appreciate all of the time that you cleared for us. You took this interview on very short notice, and we appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, JD.
All right, that is the governor of the great state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, joining us, all of us, looking at this with varying degrees of either serious concern or in some cases horror as we try to figure out just exactly where the legislative branch ends and the judicial branch begins in the United States government.